Today, we're going to go over 3 different low-cost business models we've had success with that you can set up today and have the potential to make you millions. Welcome back to Robco TV. I'm Ashley Ashby. This is my 2 co-hosts, Darron Robbins and Jacob Ashby. Tell us a little about yourself.
Yes, my name is Jake. I'm Ashley's husband and Darren's son-in-law. And we've been got married about 6 months ago when I first met the super awesome family. And so it's been great kind of getting to know, everyone around here and be able to learn a lot more from them and their experiences, and also kind of add in a little bit of my experience that I've had along the way.
Yeah, so he's going to be doing it with us. We're super excited to have him on here. Let's get started. So first of all, we want to clarify that what we're talking about today is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right. So it's very rare for somebody to learn a new business and have it take off and overnight they become millionaires. So that's not what we want to promote at all. We want everybody to understand that this is a long-term mindset. You are typically doing it while you're already working another job. You're spending time on this new business, building it up, and over time it becomes successful, replaces your income, and then has the potential to make you a millionaire.
Okay, first thing on our list we wanted to talk about was Printify and using print-on-demand products, not specifically Printify, but that is one supplier that you can use, right? And Jake's had a little bit of experience with this, right?
Yeah, so I kind of ran into a problem because I'm a college student, full-time college student right now, and it was just hard to have a job and also be able to to keep up with my classes and like extracurriculars and stuff like that, and still have time to hang out with my family. But so I was looking for all these different ways that I would be able to have some sort of alternate income. And so like one day I was just scrolling through social media and saw all these people talking about, this thing called Printify. And they say like, oh, make like $500 in a day and stuff. And so I was like, whatever. And I watched it and I started doing some research and found out about this whole website called Printify. And so the way it all works is it's a print-on-demand website. And so what you do is you create some sort of design for a product, and they have dozens and dozens of products on this website. And so you go in and you can upload your product to this website, whether it's a t-shirt or a mug or a candle or like a puzzle, all these different products that they have. And then you can create your own product through this website. And the nice part about this website is that they'll handle all the shipping for you. They'll keep up both the supply and demand with you. All you have to do is create the product and then find some way yourself to market it.
Printify is just one, right, of lots of different websites you can use.
Yeah, since the idea of print on demand has come out, there's a lot of players in that market. And so Printiful is one of the better ones because the suppliers are more reliable, the print quality, they really have a good system.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about some of the pros and cons with using a print-on-demand business model, because there are a few, right? Let's start with the pros. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, so I guess for me, some of the pros that I started doing, a little bit of backstory, the niche that I kind of dove into is just making Christian art. And so, I'm religious, like we're a religious family. And it's something that I kind of knew that I enjoyed. And so I was like, I'll just try it out. And so I started taking kind of an alternate path. I got into AI, like image creation, all that kind of new stuff that's coming up nowadays. And it's been awesome. It's been really surprising, some of the stuff that was coming out. And so as I was making all these, images and all these like paintings, honestly, in pastel minimalist paintings, I'd show them to Ash and to my family, be like, would you buy this? Like, is this something that you would want to like buy? And they're all like, yeah, that'd be super cool. And then I remember this one time that Ash's mom, Jamie, she's like, yeah, like I'd totally put that on my wall. I'm like, oh, sweet, that's good enough for me. And so I went and like it's kind of tricky because a lot of the AI, image generations that they do is pretty low quality as far as like pixels wise. So I had to go into Photoshop, up the pixels and then upload it to Printify. And then from there, I was able to upload it onto Etsy, and that's what I've been selling everything on. It's just listing all these products on Etsy and having those listed for people to see.
And Jake's actually had some pretty good success with it, right?
Yeah, it's been kind of me and success getting started. When I first got into it, I wasn't selling anything. And so the tricky part about Etsy is the more that you sell, the more that's going to list all these products for you. And so obviously if you have a brand new store and like no one's buying anything, Etsy's not going to showcase that to anyone. Was kind of a pro and a con of using Etsy. But kind of like people started like taking notice. Like I had some nativity paintings, and I did some Easter paintings. Just kind of around the fall and spring that I was doing this. And as of last month, I've made about $2,500. But I only got to keep about 1,000 of that, because one of the cons with using Printify is that they have really high shipping costs.
Another con is that you can't really control the quality since there's these other vendors.
Yeah, so Printify they're a third party. They have a bunch of vendors that actually do the printing, and they're just kind of the go-between for all of them. And so when I first started, I was trying to use the providers on the cheaper side, but then I was getting complaints on the quality of my prints. And so I found a happy medium where the price was reasonable and the prints were good. And so that's one of the options that you have with Printify, is that you can kind of select one that has good pricing and also good, accurate prints. But overall, like from Jake's experience with this, as he said, he started out, I wasn't selling anything, and now he's selling things. And we mentioned it's not a get-rich-quick business that we're promoting here. Any successful business takes time. It takes figuring out how to market. It takes, there's a lot to learn to promote it and get it to the point where you're actually making really good money off of it. And so he's well on his way to doing that. And I no doubt years from now, he'll look back and see where he is and just see the journey that he's taken to get to the point where he's actually making really good money off of that business.
And Christian art's not the first thing that you started into, right?
Yeah, so originally the whole idea was I wanted to come up with a super cool like surfing t-shirt brand. I was going to call it Chinola Supply, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so I made I spent all this time like on Canva and Printify, like making I thought they were the coolest t-shirts ever. But no one was looking at it. No one was even touching them. And so then I kind of like branched out from there and was looking at what other people were selling. But so far, the one I've been most consistent with has been, doing these paintings. And so it's like an evolving thing. Like I'm not going to just drop it off because I know like it has potential. It's what we're all talking about. And so being able to have something that you can stick with is going to be really important.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool to see that you have found some success. Keeps you motivated, keeps you going. Darron, you actually had a lot of success with your print-on-demand business that you were starting to...
Yeah, so I was using Shopify. Shopify allows you to to add different plugins to your website. And so I had a Shopify plugin for Amazon. And so most of my sales came through Amazon. And before I got started, I used a software called Jungle Scout that allowed me to research Amazon and see what was selling well. And I used that to kind of look at a bunch of different t-shirt designs to see the top sellers. And I noticed a trend in all of those top sellers. And so I took that trend that I was seeing and applied it to the automotive industry. I like cars, so I started making car-related t-shirts. And in a year's time, I sold $250,000 worth of shirts. I made $60,000 off of it. The problem was because they were car-related, I was using the manufacturer's names, and so I got hit with intellectual property penalties, and so I ended up getting my account shut down. But I was amazed at how well those t-shirts sold because I had found this trend that all these top t-shirts had. And so I think if I would have just stayed away from intellectual property, I would have had the same success with selling t-shirts. And so I do still sell t-shirts. I've just taken a different route. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot of potential there.
So when you first started with your t-shirt business, when did you start seeing your sales pick up, and when did you start?
Right away. Amazon, because of their algorithm, if you list something and it takes off, then they push it out to everybody. And so my top t-shirts just took off right away within just a few weeks. And so then, and my approach for the designs, I know a little bit about Photoshop. And so I was designing part of it. And then I hired a freelancer to help with the other part of my designs. And so it was kind of a hybrid there of me doing it, him doing it. So none of mine were AI, which is a great idea that Jake has been using. But so it cost me a little bit more, right? I was investing, it cost me about $10 per design for me to have these created, but it did take off really fast. And so I was selling on Amazon and then Etsy and eBay, but most of my sales of that 250,000 in sales came from Amazon.
How did you hear about print on demand? How did you get that started?
Well, it was right before COVID, and I was just looking for another business opportunity. And so I actually found it on YouTube. I was watching YouTubers that were talking about the success that they had with print on demand.
And then you just tried it out yourself,
and
it worked.
but I, not without a lot of analytics, right? I didn't want to dive into something that I didn't know that I could actually make work. And so that's why I spent the time analyzing the top sellers on Amazon to see what would sell.
And it took a lot of research. And
yeah.
So the second business plan we wanted to talk about is drop shipping.
Yeah. So my first business, I didn't have a lot of money to invest in inventory and things. And so drop shipping was pretty new at the time because I would go to a lot of businesses. I wanted to sell their products. And they offered drop shipping, but they required that you have an actual storefront to do that. Since I didn't have a storefront, didn't want to invest in a storefront, I had to talk. I was able to get one company to give me an account. And so I started out drop shipping, and I just put all of it was an outdoor products website that I was doing. I put all of their products on there and didn't get any sales. And so over time, had to teach myself how to get my website ranked in the search results. And what do you know? A thermal underwear product took off. It was polypropylene thermal underwear. And I started selling it. And it was nice because, again, I didn't have to pay for the inventory until I actually had a sale. So that's one of the pros of drop shipping is you can take a company that has millions of dollars worth of products, sell their products, and you don't have to actually have millions of dollars worth of inventory.
You started with nothing.
So I started with nothing but the cost of my website, right? And so I had the cost of the website. It was pretty minimal, less than $100 to get started. And then from there, it was just my time investment, right? I had to, back then, this is a while ago, but I had to actually scan their catalog, crop, upload over a dial-up connection. It's probably dating me, but so that's how I got started. It was just my time investment. And so I would come home after my regular job, dive into that. And then once we started actually getting sales, the problem that I ran into is I had so many sales for certain products that my supplier was constantly running out of it. They didn't seem too concerned that they didn't have the inventory for my orders. So I was having a lot of cancellations. And the product was actually something that the Navy and Coast Guard started ordering from me. And so I was getting these big orders only to be disappointed because my manufacturer or my supplier didn't have it in stock. And so I was just like, what do I do here? So I ended up with a hybrid. I went out and found a supplier for this product. It was a different brand that I was than the one that I was selling through the drop shipper, but I started actually buying inventory so that when I was getting these big orders that I would ship it myself. And so I was getting orders for stuff that could be drop shipped. And when I would get orders for the stuff that I inventoried, I shipped that myself. And what I realized from that is that I got to control the cost. I was able to control the cost of my shipping, how I shipped it, how quickly I shipped it, because sometimes my drop shipper wouldn't ship something for several days to a week, just depending on if they had it in stock. But that was just a great way for me to get started. And like we've talked about, it wasn't a get rich quick scheme. You know, it took me a while. It took me at least, I think it took about a year before we actually had consistent sales. And then from there, every year thereafter, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And at one point we had 20th Century Fox order $35,000 worth of product for us, from us to ship to one of their production sets in Budapest, Hungary. It was called Aragon. It was a movie that completely flopped. I liked it because I knew that they bought the product from
with the scene that they were doing. Do you know?
Nope, it's thermal underwear, right? So they were wearing it underneath their costumes, but so you couldn't even see the product that I shipped to them. But I just got an email one day that said, "Hey, we're doing this production in Budapest, Hungary. Our actors are freezing. Everybody's freezing. We need thermals as fast as you can get them to us."
It was like all of the art.
Yeah. So next time you're watching Aragon, just remember that they're wearing Darron's thermal underwear.
I was hoping that I would get a credit or something in there somewhere, but that was my first really big purchase, and it opened my eyes to, you know, just how lucrative this business could be.
Well, it was cool because you were able to quit your day job and go do this.
Yeah, and then I was working for IBM as a called an on-site tech, so I would go fix printers and stuff, and then come home and do my business in the evenings. And eventually I was able to tell IBM, "Hey, I'm put in my 2 weeks and did this business full time."
That was a little scary, but
it was scary, but I would never look back now. To see where I am now compared to back there, definitely the way to go.
The third business model we wanted to talk about is digital products, selling digital products online. We've talked a little bit about this in previous episodes, but we wanted to kind of go in a little bit more specifics on what kind of digital products you could sell. One of them being downloadable art, right?
So yeah, this is the one that like drives me crazy, because I was like going through all this work, doing Printify, having all these extra costs from using a supplier. And then I was looking on Etsy about all these other people. And so it all started when I started doing the Christian art. And I was looking at, you know, kind of scoping out the market a little bit, seeing what other people were selling. And all these people had like this little label on their product that said digital art. And I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I was looking at it, and like all you do is you just upload this like JPEG or PNG file onto Etsy, and then someone just buys that file. And so you're left with, you know, this product, this digital product that you can sell. It's only on a computer. It has no cost to you whatsoever to like ship or anything like that. Someone just buys it and instantly have it. And then with that file, if I were to go buy like a digital art of something, I would just take it to like Walmart or Costco or some, you know, printing company that I can print it and as big as I want it. So that was something that was super surprising. So I started getting into that a little bit. I kind of put some of the Christian art as digital art. I've sold a couple of them, but they're a lot cheaper. I'm only listing mine for like $5. But there's one shop that I was looking at on Etsy. You can look it up. It's called the World Art Gallery. And there's this website that I found called Allura.io that you can go on and you can look up anyone's, you know, Etsy shop and you can see how much they're making. And so I went and looked at this World Art Gallery. And this guy he's sold over $1.6 million just in digital products. And that just like blew me away. His monthly revenue is like $35,000 according to this website. And it said he was ranked like number 92 in arts and collectibles, and that's on all of Etsy. And so I was like, man, this guy's doing something right. And so I went and looked at his shop, and he's got like over 4,000 products. And so like part of me is like wondered maybe he just has like a mass, like so many products that he just like branches over to everything in Etsy. That could be a reason why, but obviously he's got to figure it out because he started his Etsy business in 2020 and he's already made 1.6 million since then. And so that's kind of a really good model to look to. And you can kind of tell looking at some of his products that he's using some AI like generated image, and people are buying it like crazy. And he's selling for like around $20 a print, and he's obviously having a lot of success with it. And so that's one of the really good examples of, you know, a digital product that would be really, really easy to sell. You just have to be able to market it and be able to make it successful so that people are going to want to buy it.
Yeah. What I like about that is, again, it's low cost, right? It didn't take much to set up an Etsy store. It doesn't take much to start creating those images. And I also like that you said he started in 2020. 4 years later, he's making $35,000 a month. I guarantee he didn't start out making that. And he probably has put in hours and hours and hours over the last 4 years or 3.5 years, creating these images and building his shop to the point where now he's making $35,000 a month. And so with all these ideas that we've been sharing with you guys, you just have to have the long-term vision in mind that you're not going to start it and have, 6 months later, you're a millionaire. You have to start it with the idea that, over the next several years, you're going to build it up to a business that will replace your income. And that's really the mindset that you have to have with it.
And I think a lot of the times too, when you go and look up this kind of stuff, all of these, YouTube links and videos are all saying like how to make $400 in a day or how I make like $50,000 in a month. And that might be true, but they don't say how long it took them like to get that. And so when people are watching these videos and have this expectation that as soon as they start doing this thing, they're just instantly going to have, those kind of numbers showing up, which obviously usually isn't the case. That takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort.
It does.
Exactly. But what we found is one really easy thing to sell online is knowledge, right?
Right. Everybody's looking for knowledge in how to do things. Think of YouTube as a perfect example of it, right? If you don't know how to do something, you get on YouTube and you look it up. Somebody's got a video showing you how to do simple things.
Right.
And for more complicated things, you don't want to dive into it and have to fail over and over and over till you figure it out. And so what do? You want to take a course. You want to learn from somebody that's done it. So courses are something that everybody knows how to do something well. And you don't even have to be an expert at it, right? You can just be good at it. You figured out how to at least get started into something. For instance, if you have learned how to play the guitar, there's a lot of people that want to learn how to start playing the guitar, right? And so if you have learned how to play the guitar, you may not be an expert, but if you can create a course on this is how you get into playing the guitar, this is how you start, then that's something that you could then sell to all the people that are trying to start learning how to play a guitar. And you don't even have to be the expert at it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we were thinking about taking it even a step further. You could even have some kind of affiliate program set up with someone who teaches more in-depth guitar and send people that way. Like after you teach them how to get started, they can teach you more guitar lessons.
Right. They purchase your course on how to get started, and then once they've got started, then you refer them to the expert who has a higher end course, and you get an affiliate commission for sending them and having them sign up.
Right. That'd be kind of scaling up your business.
Right.
And so I think to add on to that, the value of having these kind of courses that you can make and you can sell is absolutely incredible. Like I work as an EMT. When I was studying for that, I was like looking for these videos to watch, and I found this podcast called Back to Basics podcast. And it's about these two brothers. One's a paramedic, nurse, firefighter. One's like emergency physician, but they're both super knowledgeable about their fields. And from listening to this podcast, I found out that they had this course that you could take. And so like looking at their course, they do a really good job of like showing the skill that you can learn. And their whole point is just help people to pass the NREMT test, like the National Registry test to become an EMT. And like, it's totally awesome.
You
like,
took the course.
I took the course. Like I was sold on it because I'd taken the test once. I didn't pass it. And so I was like, I need some more help. But it's like, it's so true. Being able to have some sort of knowledge that you can pass on and having that ability to explain something, not necessarily simpler, but explain something in a different way that people are going to understand is probably going to be one of the most like sustainable and effective skills they can have. They can turn into some sort of source of income.
Right. And you don't need to be a college professor. You don't need to be like certified teaching, whatever. You just put your information out there and people will buy it.
Everybody knows how to do something well. So when I got started in my first business, I mentioned that I didn't have any traffic. I didn't know how to sell the products that I put on my website. And back then, this was pre-social media, right? I couldn't get on and look at, listen to other people and go off of their suggestions. It was all forums and blogs. And there was just so much noise and information out there. And I found one guy that had he was giving out free information on internet marketing. And so I tried some of the things that he told me about, and it worked. And so then he had a course that I paid for and took, and that's really what launched me into being successful online and getting my products ranked at the top of the search engines organically. Was this course that I took by a guy named Michael Cheney. And I took his course, and from there, he knew what he was talking about. I implemented the stuff that he told me to do, and things took off.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So it was through taking a course, right? And so everybody knows how to do something. So you just have to put it together in a course and sell it.
And you're a certified EMT?
Yeah,
took that course.
made it.
It worked.
I'd say something that I kind of experienced with doing this is at first, like when I saw that he had this course available, I was like, no, I can just like watch YouTube videos. I can, there's free sources out there to like learn this kind of stuff, which is true. But with all these free sources, that there's so many different people that are posting these, and they all have different opinions. They all have different ideas. So it gets kind of tricky. Just going the free YouTube video route can work, but it's going to take a lot more work. Versus having someone who, is knowledgeable in the field, is professional, and they're going to be able to tell you exactly what you need. And it's going to be a lot better in the long run versus just trying to watch like a million YouTube videos and just taking up so much more of your time trying to learn a certain skill.
And so right now we just found a course called Digital Wealth Academy. It teaches about how to do digital marketing, how to build up an audience. Darron, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I found this course through kind of in a roundabout way, but it teaches you the basics of selling a digital product. It teaches you the basics of creating a course, creating a digital product that you could then sell. But it goes a step further, and it teaches you how to actually sell it through building an audience on social media. And so that's why this course attracted us, is because we need to learn how to build an audience. It's something, out of all the digital marketing that I've done, I've never really learned how to build an audience. And so this course teaches us how to do that. So we're going to highlight, as we go through this course, the pros and cons of it, and hopefully see that it makes us successful.
And it's already helped tons of people already build up their audiences. And
it has, yeah. So one of the people that I was reading in her comments, she's a baker. She created a $3 digital course. In the last 3 months, she's made over $250,000 because they taught her how to create the course and then how to market that course on her social media channels. And she's sold it. I don't know how many sales that equals, but she's made over $250,000 in selling her. She's a baker, so she's selling recipes.
Right. And so if you're interested in that, if you have some kind of business idea that you want to get out there, or even if you just want to learn more about digital marketing, you can try it out too with us. Digital Wealth Academy. We'll put a link in the description below.
Yeah.
But it's legit.
And I'd say something to add on to that is we're all, taking these steps ourselves. And I think me especially, like I'm totally new to all this. A lot of my knowledge is in like stuff I'm studying at school. And so I'm not very, business literate. I don't have a ton of, business experience. And so as we're going through all these, podcast episodes and all these videos that we're making, we're all going to be examples of, starting from the ground up. And like me especially, I feel like I'm going to be taking this course, and I'm really excited for it because it's built for someone that doesn't have like little to zero experience in it. And so we're really excited. We're going to be able to share this with you guys and the successes that we know we're going to have with it.
So one caution that I would give to you is that it's easy to get on social media, on YouTube, and see all of these different things that people are promoting. And any one of them could be successful, could make you successful, but I think the mindset that a lot of people have is it's going to be the next month or 3 months or 6 months. And when that doesn't happen, then they turn to the next thing, the next shiny object, right? They see, oh, that course looks better. And so instead of just digging in and focusing on one thing that you started out being interested in and just sticking with it and making it successful, it's really easy to bounce to the next program that comes along. Or, hey, that opportunity looks better. They call it shiny object syndrome. And so I would just caution you as you dig into a business opportunity, you really have to, before you start spending money on it, make sure that you have the right mindset that it's going to be, it's going to take some time to develop and build and to stick with it. And if you stick with it, then you can become a millionaire. It's not, don't expect it overnight. And so that's the only caution that I would give you, is just start into it with the mindset that it is going to take some time. Yeah, it could happen overnight. It's definitely a possibility. Some people have that overnight success or success within just a few months. But with a product like Digital Wealth Academy, it really is designed for complete beginners. You do have to have a little bit of technical knowledge on the internet, but it is designed for beginners, but it is making a lot of people wealthy.
In future episodes, we're going to go more into Digital Wealth Academy and our experience with it. So follow along if you want to hear how that goes for us and our take on it and how it can help your business grow and help you find success as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube. We've got our podcast up on lots of different platforms, mainly Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. Stick with us, guys. It's going to be awesome.